Well. Welcome back to my channel, and if you've never been here before, good luck. If you have been here before, thank you for coming back. It's nice to see you again. Did you do something different? Your hair looks nice. You saw the title. Today we're talking about Gabbie Hanna. Yes, again. Yes, I'm tired of it too.
Why are you making this video then?
Great question, Gabbie Stan. In all seriousness, I was quite reticent to make this video, but given the developments of this week, I thought it was actually kind of an important conversation to have. Though I suppose Gabbie Hanna would translate that as I am using her name to make money. But the joke's on her because my channel's not monetized as of right now. And she copyright claimed my last video as I expected she would, so. Subscribe! Anywho, like I said, today we're talking about Gabbie Hanna and sort of the tirade that she's been going on this week. And I have broken it down. It's like this big, isn't it? It's like that big. I have broken it down into 3 sort of semi-digestible sections, okay? The first section is gonna be the hardest to digest, just because of its content. Grab a snack, let's get into it. Part 1, mental health crisis or publicity stunt. I want to say first and foremost right off the bat, especially with this part, but it does encompass my whole video. These are just my opinions and my thoughts, mild speculation at best. Now, a few days ago, Gabbie Hanna went on what seemed to be a completely unprovoked tirade against a literary critic, YouTuber, and all-around nice person, Rachel Oates. Gabbie spent panel after panel spewing vile, angry, disgusting insults at Rachel because Rachel, if you can believe it, reviewed Gabbie's book that Gabbie sent her to be reviewed. But this is where shit gets really vile. Rachel Oates had the audacity to review the book and give her honest opinion of the book. Not of Gabbie Hanna, but of her book and literary style in a book review 5 months ago. I sincerely do not know what lit a fire under Gabbie Hanna's ass this week to go off on and about Rachel, but everything about this is wrong. Gabbie spent several minutes on Instagram talking about how Rachel is essentially unqualified to analyze art, despite the fact that that is literally Rachel's job. It's what she gets paid for on her YouTube channel. If Gabbie spent an iota of a second, maybe 6 or 7 seconds, taking a look at Rachel Oates' YouTube channel, she would see that that's literally what Rachel does. She criticizes literature and poetry and breaks it down. And it's not just like a Gabbie Hanna hate train. She then went on to insist that Rachel's not an artist and implies that she couldn't possibly understand how to critique art because she's not an artist. Saying that Rachel has shitty taste, calling her a bitch, a sick, twisted bitch, if I remember correctly, a monster, and of course, get out your fucking bingo cards, because it's time for that person's a narcissistic abuser. In fact, Gabbie made so many stories and tagged Rachel in them all, her fan base went and false flagged Rachel Oates' Instagram. And then Instagram took down Rachel Oates' account. So let's really look at this at a baseline level, right? Gabbie knows that Rachel made a review about her first book, where she didn't like it. She called it lazy, and so she sent her new book to review. Rachel reviewed the book, honestly.
Gabbie not happy.
Months later, out of seemingly nowhere, Gabbie lashes out at Rachel Oates. Oh, and Gabbie didn't stop there. One fellow commentary channel, and likely the biggest female commentary channel, Angelica Oles, deigned to speak about Gabbie's tirades. Gabbie then went off on Angelica Oles, throwing around more narcissistic abuse and saying things like Shut the fuck up, Angelica, and go back to law school, as if that is in any way insulting. She goes on to allude to the fact that commentary channels and people who talk about other people's art are in no way talented and couldn't possibly be an artist and therefore couldn't possibly understand things. And they're all just a bunch of no talent people who couldn't ever feasibly make or understand art. Then when Angelica brought up the fact that Gabbie spent the better part, and I do mean the better part, of her career piggybacking off of other people's stories and existences and using their names for money, even at the expense of their loved ones, citing the girl who died in 7th period, I believe is the name of that video, which Gabbie had carelessly posted and then followed up with an apology to her family when her family found the video and was like, hey, what the fuck? No worries, because that video's been monetized ever since. Still making money off of that one, allegedly. Basically, Angelica was saying that Gabbie has done the same thing throughout the course of her career. And that makes sense because YouTube as a platform, in its inception, well, not in its inception, in its like heyday of like people making their careers on YouTube, this was a community-based platform. Collaboration was how you grew as a channel. However, Gabbie Hanna then took what Angelica said about the video where she talked about the girl who died in 7th period and took it as an opportunity to bring up Bianca Devins. And then she took the opportunity to blame Angelica Oles for talking about Bianca Devins. If you don't know who Bianca is, she was a girl who was unfortunately, her life was taken from her too soon in a violent way. When Gabbie pulled up the picture, she was doing some sort of e-girl transformation kind of thing. And there was a photo of Bianca in a shirt. Gabbie was commenting on the shirt, missed the article that went with it that was talking about this girl had her life taken from her, and posted it. She then tried to blur out the photo in the hopes that it would, I forget how she put it, essentially so it would garner less attention and less people would be offended. And then everybody was like,
what are you doing? You need to take that down.
Instead, she contacted Bianca's family, and Bianca's family said they weren't offended, so Gabbie uses that as a get out of jail free card on this one, which is fine. And her apology would have been fine if she then didn't try to make it a learning lesson for the entire commentary community. And when she was arguing with Angelica, basically outright saying, hey, Angelica, you're the problem. But here's the problem with the problem. Angelica didn't just bring up Bianca Devins, you did. So the only person dragging out the Bianca Devins thing is you. Sorry. And again, still not done. Seemingly, again, out of nowhere, Gabbie started cryptically calling out someone on Instagram while driving. A lot of these have been done while driving because safety. Just spouting off about how they liked a tweet that was in support of something someone said that was anti-Gabbie. This person reached out in DMs to say that he wasn't aware of the full scope of what was going on and that he agreed with the point made in the tweet and that he was there for her if she ever wanted to talk. Gabbie then thanked him for apologizing in an effort to be the most insufferable person on the internet. Tried to make it a lesson in accountability for liking a tweet. At this point, she is becoming the final boss Karen of the internet. Like, can we all agree on that? Because I think that's pretty evident. This person came back and said, well, I'm not sorry. Just extending well wishes and essentially an open door for conversation if you need it. Furthering her insufferability, Gabbie insists on holding this person accountable and berates him for supporting her abusers. Hope you got that bingo card out, because man, everybody's gonna win. All of this led to this person eventually just blocking her, which of course, nothing offends Gabbie more than blocking her. This person released the DMs. It was Oscar Wilde. You see, the whole time Gabbie was Instagramming and driving, she insisted that she wasn't gonna tag this person, to blast them, to call them out. But she did tag them. Real tiny like, in each panel. No, we're still not done. Dominic DeAngelis around this time made a tweet that said the following: Gabbie Hanna is top 3 worst humans I've met in LA. I think that just needs to be said. Of course, Gabbie took this as, I've been trending on Twitter, so you are taking an opportunity to tweet about me while I'm trending to essentially gain traction on a tweet and get attention. That's narcissistic abuse.
Of course it is.
Here's the thing about that. Like anything else where there has been a perpetrator of bad feelings, when the internet is coming together to be against you because of your shitty behavior, there is comfort and safety in numbers to say the thing that's been sitting on your chest for years. Sort of like there's no moratorium on how long it takes you to talk about something like, I don't know, Rachel Oates reviewing your book, you know? And so Gabbie went on another tirade, both on Instagram and on Twitter, about Dom, calling him out for having played Smash or Pass years earlier when everyone was playing Smash or Pass, and then reacting to their Smash or Pass. She says that he both demeaned and dehumanized her, and literally all he said was,
"It's not my type, man. Shit."
She went on to say that when she confronted him about it, he ran away so fast.
You passed me.
I did.
So you mean to tell me that if tonight we got a little bit drunk and I was like, hey, I'm really interested in you, you think you're out of my league?
Literally didn't run away. Like at all. Not even once. He was still being like actually very polite to her.
I don't say you're out of my league. No.
But you would pass.
Honestly, I'll do anything when I'm drunk.
Just when you're drunk.
Well, she made fun of his height.
No.
Is it the fact that I'm 3 inches taller than you? Is that the reason you're a little intimidated? Is that why you're going fast?
His relevancy.
Fine, nobody on my vlog channel knows who you are.
And later the other day on Instagram by calling him outright unfuckable. What does this mean in terms of, is this a publicity stunt? Is this a mental health crisis? During this whole ordeal, Gabbie's been talking about how she's finally standing up for herself. She's finally standing up to her abusers. The thing about that is that last year, when Gabbie Hanna's mental health was declining publicly, what she said was, I'm finally standing up to my abusers. I'm finally standing up for myself. She's also been talking about her mental health diagnoses. Now, it's unclear whether these are, at least to me as of this moment, I could be wrong, but it's unclear whether she has been clinically diagnosed or if she's self-diagnosing, looking for a clinical diagnosis. And evidently in the past few weeks, Gabbie learned the word neurodivergent. Now she fancies herself some kind of expert. She's essentially blaming these behaviors on the fact that she has adult ADHD, which I'm not saying she doesn't, but I am saying that any sort of mental health issue, any sort of mental illness is not an excuse for shitty behavior, period. It is sometimes the cause, it is sometimes the reason, but it is never an excuse, and it's not a shield that you can wield around so flippantly to hide behind. She's also sort of talked about how she's filming a series, which seems to be in several parts over several hours. And now I'm not a genius, which is a fact that may surprise you. But I would estimate that this is some like follow my mental health journey with me type of series, right? So that begs the question, is this a real mental health crisis? Despite her insistence that she's fine, which also happened last year? Or is this some kind of publicity stunt ahead of the release of a self-produced docuseries? Everybody recognizes that she has some sort of formula for creating, I'm sorry, she never creates drama, for being involved in drama around the time she's releasing a book or music or what have you. So is this a formula then for releasing some kind of mental health advocacy docuseries kind of thing? I don't know. Because if it is, and I'm not saying that it is, I'm just speculating, just spitballing. If it is, the past few days have done so much damage to people who have ADHD, people who are actually neurodivergent, again, not saying she isn't, telling people with BPD how they are not neurodivergent. Basically, you're not a part of that community and you're not a doctor. Googling medical journals on mental illness does not make you an expert. It's a good thing to do to learn about mental health, your own mental health, other people's mental health, or mental illnesses. But it is not a tool at your disposal to insist upon educating others or invalidating them or telling them that they're wrong. Whether you're actually a mental health advocate or not, that's not your job. That's a doctor's job. Where do I stand? I don't know. I'm not sure. Some of the erratic behavior is so erratic and quite disturbing. This does appear to fit the pattern, especially because it's kind of like a carbon copy of last year. So I'm not sure. Part 2, standing up for yourself is not verbal assault, nor is it returning behaviors. A big part of why this caught so much public attention is because of the language. The accusatory language, profanity-laced, angry, vile language used against people that Gabbie feels has wronged her in some way. In an unprovoked Instagram story, Gabbie called Rachel Oates a sick, twisted bitch, a monster, unintelligent. She said she had shitty taste, etc., etc., etc. A lot of people were actually really disturbed by that series of stories. And again, she noted that Rachel blocked her and continued to go on a tirade. Same thing with Oscar Wilde. As soon as he blocked her, she called him a fake pussy ass bitch. She called him a performative friend because evidently Gabbie's taking buzzwords 101. Also, it doesn't seem like they were ever really friends. Gabbie treats the block feature being used against her as a personal attack. She says the same thing about Trisha Paytas. She says the same thing about Jessie Smiles. She talks about how I've never had you blocked. You blocked me, I've never had you blocked. What she doesn't realize is that she reaches a point of toxicity that is unbearable for people. She becomes literally intolerable, impossible to talk to, and frankly maxes out everyone's capacity for bullshit. Just in general, if someone blocks you, just stop fucking talking to them. Stop trying to drag it out. Stop creeping on their shit. If they wanted to continue the conversation, if they thought that what you had to say in return was worth their time, whether they're right or you're right, it doesn't fucking matter, they would have continued the conversation. Most of the time when people block you, they're putting up boundaries and protecting themselves, perhaps protecting their own mental health. So be a good performative mental health advocate and maybe respect people's boundaries, even if you don't respect them as human beings. At the end of the day, calling Rachel Oates a bitch over and over and over and over, and calling Angelica Oles a bitch, and calling Oscar Wilde a fake ass pussy bitch, calling Dom unfuckable, that's not standing up for yourself.
I was wronged, so I'm giving them a taste of their own medicine, and that's the point.
Yeah, that's not how that works. That's not how 30-year-olds behave. Because if Doug sets Donna's house on fire, and then Donna sets Doug's house on fire in retaliation, Donna's still gonna go to fucking jail for arson. Because they did it first isn't a justification. Especially because in this case, they didn't do it first. My third and final part, where do we go from here? Gabbie seems to have mellowed out a bit, which is good and also jarring, because it seems that she feels so right about all of this that she's just going on business as usual after a multi-day angry erratic tirade on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. She's also making these, like the videos when she's driving, which is terribly unsafe. What's next? Oh, that brings us back to part 1. If this is a publicity stunt, expect a multi-part docuseries about, God, I don't know. And honestly, at this point, I don't think it's going to get the views that if this were to be a publicity stunt, I don't think it's going to get the views that one would have liked to have garnered on it, because I feel like the internet is just not on her side on this one. I feel like she's kind of burning bridges, but don't let Bebe Rexha know because she'll steal the idea of burning bridges. If this is a legitimate mental health crisis, if her mental health is in turmoil again, I can only hope that her boyfriend, her friends, her family, whoever is near her, steps in and takes her fucking phone away. Your car sucks. Help her get the help that she needs, because this is not normal behavior. And I'm not saying normal like you have to fit a certain, you know, type to be seen as normal. This isn't the behavior of someone that's happy or doing fine as she insists that she is. The behavior of someone that's going through something and is lashing out on anyone that she can. She has the potential to have this actually incredible life, and she's squandering it by being angry at people and holding grudges and lashing out left and right instead of acting like an adult or contacting people in private. And she's setting a terrible example because, like it or not, a lot of her audience is very young, and I don't mean to demean them by saying it like this, but you have, whether you like it or not, there's a very young demographic that is watching and taking note of her actions. And I know that that's true because the ones that love her the most, they parrot exactly what she says and the way that she says it when they talk to other people. I had never seen so many shut the fuck ups in her Twitter replies as I did over the course of this week since she said it to Angelica Oles. I've never seen narcissistic abuse fly around so much until Gabbie Hanna says it. You know, they're so impressionable and they value her every move, and I just wish that they had something better to value. If she just focused on her music, focused on the fans who love her, focus on the people in her life that love her, even when she's acting like a teenage asshole. Because unfortunately, being a public figure comes with criticism. That's life. That's why you get to create. That's why you get to make art, or not if you don't want to. It's why you get to live in a $2.5 million home. It's why you have the life you have. And if you can't take constructive criticism, if you can't take any sort of negativity that comes your way, then you're in the wrong industry. It doesn't matter how talented you are. Art is subjective. It has to be. That's why it's art. If you can't see that and you can't accept criticism outside of your echo chamber, then baby, this isn't the job for you. This is part of the job. You can't work as a server and take orders and then give the finger to your boss when they want you to run them out to the table. It doesn't work like that. Oh, I'm so tired. This has been a hell of a week. What do you guys think? I know a lot of you messaged me. I got a lot of DMs and stuff asking me to make this video, and like I said, I was kind of reticent to do it, but I do have a lot of thoughts, and I do think it's you know, I don't think it's like reality TV fodder kind of talk, but I do think it opens up an interesting conversation about what are we allowing from influencers and internet personalities, because this isn't good. This isn't healthy. I hope that Gabbie does get the help that she needs, and I hope to God that this isn't a publicity stunt. But I am curious to see what you think. So let me know in the comments. If you like this video, please feel free to give it a like. If you didn't like this video, good. I don't care. Please subscribe. I make new videos whenever I feel like it. My social media is linked below. Just please don't be an asshole. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one.